Okay, cool.
Say hi.
Okay.
Hi, this is Wayne Newton, and you're listening to my good friend and favorite DJ, Jimmy Deal.
Well, welcome to Celebrity Spotlight, Sally and Ned. Great to have you with us. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, Jimmy, we're doing good.
Hey, we're
Good.
doing
The
great.
Carpenters Legacy Show. So great to have you with us. I hear so many great things about this fantastic show. The world's only authentic Carpenters tribute show, voted Las Vegas best tribute show, family and friendly show, impersonator show. Tell us, Sally, Ned, how did this show get going? Tell us how it all started.
All right. Yeah. So, gosh, I've been doing this for almost a decade now, and I'm originally from Vermont. So I'm an East Coast girl, and I started developing the show. Well, it launched for the first time in January of 2015 in Burlington, Vermont. And at the time, it was a cabaret type of a show. I was wearing the costumes and doing the hairstyles, but I wasn't totally in character. And so in between songs, I would talk about the history of the Carpenters. And it went really well the first time. And I was thinking that, geez, this is something that I'd like to continue doing and exploring. So the show over the next couple of years evolved further. And by April of 2017, I actually brought the show to New York City at the Triad Theater, where I had performed back in 2010 as a student at Circle in the Square Theater School. So I had the connection with the theater there. And it was through connections that I made doing the performance at the Triad Theater in 2017 that ended up leading me to Las Vegas. And this would be in January of 2018. So a mutual friend introduced me to Ned, basically. And at that point, I was looking for somebody to play the role of the brother Richard, and do a major overhaul and transformation of the show so that we would be 100% in character. And the concept is really taking their 1976 show and recreating that live.
So awesome. And Ned, you've been a musician for a long time, right? You've been doing it since you were like 4, right?
Yeah, I started playing the piano when I was about 4 years old, and I was torn for a while between piano and trumpet. My dad introduced me to both of them. I played trumpet in the marching band, and then in college, I was a trumpet major for 2 years, and then I switched my major to piano and studied jazz arranging at North Texas State. And so, but in the early days of our show, I actually combined both of them. I would open for myself and do a tribute to Herb Alpert, the Tijuana Brass, because if you recall, Herb Alpert's the one who gave the Carpenters their big break.
Right.
But now we do exclusively the Carpenters show. But yeah, I really love it. At heart, I'm a jazz pianist. So.
Right. Now, when you guys, you also did Legend in Concert, of course, and tell us about that audition. I mean, because there was never a Carpenters show before. It was always Elvis and Tom Jones, Liberace, that type of thing, and now the Carpenters. So tell us about the audition and how that all came about. I know Jon Stewart was involved in that probably for you guys, right?
Well, let's see. So, I forgot to mention this earlier, but the prospect of Legends in Concert was actually also the initial driving force to get me out to Las Vegas. A mutual friend, Pam Sullivan, who's a former showgirl, and she's actually from New York City. She said, "You got to come out here, audition for Legends in Concert." And so that audition actually the official audition did not happen until after I moved to Las Vegas in April of 2018. So this was, I think, in August sometime of 2018. And Ned came with me, of course, and he we did our thing, and then I started doing Legends in Concert in Myrtle Beach for the holiday show in 2019. So
she did it solo at that time.
Yeah, initially it was me solo as Karen. So, and then I did it again in Alabama in 2021 holiday season. But then for the first time, just about 2 months ago, we were brought in as Karen and Richard, which was really, a lot of fun, and that's how we prefer to do it because it's the Carpenters. So, and that was at McCallum Theater in Palm Desert.
Nice. Sally, your voice is so beautiful. Just like Karen Carpenter, you have the same vocal range. I mean, did that come natural? Was that take a lot of training? How did that happen?
It's a little bit of both. My vocal range and voice quality are very, very similar to Karen's, so it's like I didn't really have to change anything.
Right.
And so therefore it comes naturally. And I think that if it didn't come naturally, then it wouldn't really work, on stage, because it would seem like there was something forced. So the only thing that I really change or pay attention to is just the inflections, the phrasing, the nuances. But everything else was already kind of there.
Even her speaking voice in the show.
Yeah, I mean, and the look as well. You look like Karen, which is amazing, which is awesome. And of course, the show I want to say is at the David Sachs V Theater at Planet Hollywood, Monday through Thursday, right?
5
awesome.
o'clock.
5 o'clock. Okay, awesome. And people can get tickets if they're coming out to Las Vegas. Just go to Planet Hollywood or Ticketmaster. How does that work?
Easiest way is to go to vtheater.com and then just find our show on their website, or you can also go to our website, carpenterslegacy.com, and it will redirect them to the V Theater website.
Right. It's an awesome show. And were you guys fans of the Carpenters? I'm sure way back when this, way before you even started thinking about doing a Carpenters show.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of the Carpenters and just music of the 60s and 70s in general. So doing this show is it's kind of meant to be.
I've been a fan of their music, but I had just the basic knowledge of it until I met Sally. And when I started to dig in, up until that point, I was very naive about the big shoes that I would have to fill. When I started digging into the complexity of the show, arranging the music, trying to play somewhat like Richard, because I think Richard's one of the greatest, most underappreciated pianists of the 20th century, and one of the best kept secrets, if you will. And so, when we do our show, we recreate what they do in their live concerts. So I had to do a classical piano feature. I played an arrangement I did based on Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. Sally does a drum feature. So, she taught herself to play the drums with some coaching. And
I saw a piece of that. She does a fantastic job on the drums.
So we had a lot of big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I'm sure. And also you had your own show, right? Before that, Ned, Piano Follies, right?
Yeah. It's kind of a crazy show. In a nutshell, I guess you could say it's Liberace meets Victor Borge and shakes hands with Jerry Lee Lewis. I headlined it on cruise ships for about 10 years. And then, but once we dug into the Carpenters, you have to make choices. This is a absolute full-time job. And so this is
I'm sure
what I'm doing right now.
Right. Now you guys have a new album out. Tell us about that album.
Sure. Well, yeah, I'll let you.
Well, it's available on vinyl and on CD.
Okay.
That we joke in the show because we're supposed to be in 1976. So when she mentions, "Hey, we got a CD," I go, "What's a CD?" It's kind of, but it's the album. It was an 18-month project,
right?
And we did everything from scratch. The only way to properly record that signature Carpenters harmony sound is to do it the way they did. If there's a song with 4-part harmony, everything was sung twice. It was 8 tracks, 5-part harmony, 10 tracks of me and Sally. It took a long time, and a lot of people realize the complexity of doing vinyl. It has to be remastered all over to fit the vinyl format.
Right.
And we added some bonus tracks. One of the things in our project is an interesting thing. Sally sings Superstar in Spanish. Oh. And we have a music video out on Vivo that's on YouTube. And so like on the bridge, don't you remember? We add a Latin reggaeton, Right. And so it's a lot of fun. So we gave a couple of their classics a fresh coat of paint.
And I saw some Dionne Warwick songs on there as well.
Yeah,
the back rack medley.
Yeah, there's a back rack medley, which the Carpenters also did. So,
right. Of course.
And again, it adds more to the challenge when we're out of town. And now we've expanded to a mini orchestra that accompanies us out of town. I scored it for violins and cello and all that. We have a couple of hours with some of the finest musicians. The last show we did at the Downey Theater, where the Carpenters are from,
right?
We were blessed to sell that out. And our string section, come to find out, they'd played with Burt Bacharach, Celine Dion, Paul Anka.
Wow.
You know, it's quite an honor to have musicians of that caliber working with us.
So awesome. Tell us about the 55th anniversary of the Carpenters with A&M Records. I know it was a big ceremony that just went on, a show. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this was just last week, and we got back into town on Sunday. And gosh, it was a lot of fun. And actually, 5 years ago, we participated in the 50th. And that year, in 2019, it was held in Thousand Oaks. So this year, they did it in Downey because Downey is the home of the Carpenters. And so as part of the lineup of events, we performed our show at the Downey Theater, which Ned was just talking about. And that was the third time that we performed at the Downey Theater, and it's about 750 seats. And we also sold out for the third time. But this time was extra special because it was, you know, it was part of the Carpenters' 55th anniversary celebration. We had people coming from all over the country and all over the world who are just some of the biggest Carpenters fans. So when we walked out on stage, I mean, we perform as Karen and Richard, but it felt even more like we were Karen and Richard and performing in their hometown, and the fans just going, ah!
Because they get it at a much deeper level than the Las Vegas tourist that comes to see our show.
Sure.
Jokes more, a lot of the bits and the things that we do that Carrie Richard did, only a hardcore fan would understand because they've either saw them perform live or they saw videos of it. Yeah, there were fans who flew in from Japan, England, Australia, Mexico, all over the world to come see it. And they all wanted to see our show as well. So it made it extra special.
Wow, what an honor for you guys to be a part of that. That must have been so special for you, both of you.
Yeah, and another honor that happened the week too is that we had the honor of meeting Richard himself. So that was great. He's an avid car collector.
Yes.
And he has, I couldn't even count 30, 40, 50 classics. He's a big Mopar Chrysler guy. And sometimes we would talk about music, but he said, okay, that's great. But, this Chrysler over here is a Mopar 446 back. He's passionate about cars. And I'm a motorhead too. I've got a classic Cadillac. So we had a common interest in cars as well. And he's 77 years young. He has a Baldwin concert grand piano in his museum. And he sat down. What a big thrill for us. He sat down and tinkled the ivories a little bit for us.
Wow.
You know, and then he has a room with all his memorabilia and would point, Herb Alpert, here's his congratulatory letter. We're close to U-turn number 1, and just all these things. And I still get goosebumps thinking about it.
We were able to take a lot of photos and video clips, and there's just so much to go through that I started releasing some stuff on social media, but I have a lot more to release.
Right. I mean, I saw some of the pictures of Sally with Karen's Mercedes Benz. Love that picture. Great.
Yeah.
I saw some of the studio, which was great. I mean, so many beautiful pictures and memorabilia on the walls. I mean, you guys, he must have been very taken with you, Sally, right? I mean, with the sound and the look.
Tell him what he said to you when you first met Richard.
We were there at our appointment time, and he's usually a little late,
fashionably late.
Yeah, exactly. So he arrives in, what was his Porsche?
Yeah. Beautiful black, brand new Porsche.
And so then we were the introductions, and he looks at me and is like, "You must play my sister Karen." I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a huge honor, and just to know that he knows about our show and approves of what we're doing means the world to us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. So what does he do like now? Does he still perform, or is he just retired and hangs out pretty much and deals with his museum? Or
he's still performing. He recently performed in Japan, and I believe he's going to the UK. He does, from what I understand, an intimate show with his daughters who also sing. And I believe it's just the three of them doing stuff. But I think it's really amazing that Richard has worked so hard to keep the legacy of their music and all this in love and honor of his sister. And he's
I never met him, but I know years ago he sent me a signed picture, which I still have, which I cherish. They're very, very cool. So that's so awesome, and it's so glad to see he's doing so well. I saw the video that you guys put up on social media, which was awesome.
Sally's hoping that he would have given her a signed Mercedes, but that
that would have been really cool, right, Sally?
next time.
I know you guys were just up here not too long ago in Atlantic City at the Ocean Casino. Tell us about that show. I know you guys did very well there.
Oh, that was fabulous. That was the biggest venue that we played so far. It seats 1,600, and we had about 1,200 people there. Great, great crowd, great people to work with, and just it's a beautiful theater space that they have.
And just before that, it was an adventure. And another honor, Sally got a chance to perform in her hometown of Rutland, Vermont. And,
nice.
And it's interesting. In April, like we're in Las Vegas right now. It's in the 80s. It's going to be hitting triple digits here in just a few weeks. And so we got a warning that there was a major snowstorm headed that way. So we had to take an earlier flight. We finished our show in Vegas, took a red eye, flew all night to Atlanta, flew to Albany, New York.
Yeah, that was fun.
I drove the van in the rain. We get there, and then the snow starts pouring down. And I did.
It's April.
Yeah,
and I thought, I know Vermont. That's where I grew up, and I was like, oh, we'll be fine. Yeah. But no, you get a big snowstorm.
We're staying in a ski resort, Killington. They got 18 inches of snow. I had to snow shovel our way out a path to the. It was just interesting. And then, like 3 days later, the snow melted like nothing happened. Everybody came to the show. It was a hero's welcome for her.
Awesome.
And then a couple of days later, we drove to Burlington and saw the solar eclipse.
Oh, nice. I drove through Burlington. I guess it was about last year, maybe the year before, but I didn't actually go explore too much. But I was in that area. It's such a beautiful area of Vermont. It really is.
Yeah, it is. And to see the eclipse like that and the timing of that with the hero's welcome that Sally got is just thrilling.
Any plans to bring the show back on the road, coming out this way on the East Coast at all?
I don't think we have any dates on the East Coast at the moment, but I'm sure that we will. We're always adding dates to our schedule.
We're taking a little break right now and focusing on residency for the next few months. We've got a couple of things kind of close to home that we're doing where it's a fun thing.
Right.
Our Christmas calendar is getting full very quickly. East Coast wise, we've done Florida many times. We did the Fort Myers area with our Christmas show. And so hopefully, that was really nice. But I think the next time we're up that way, it'll probably be in the summer. No more winter jolts. I didn't know April was winter. But
sometimes.
Yeah.
Are you guys adjusting to Las Vegas weather? You guys used to Las Vegas, living there now?
To some degree. I've been here 24 years. And you've been
wow.
Here,
I guess you're adjusted.
But in August, it can get so hot, you have to stick your head in the oven just to cool off.
Yeah, I usually come out there in August, so it's always pretty hot when I'm out there.
Yeah.
So pretty wild. Yeah. So, but it's so cool that that the show is going so well. You mentioned the Christmas tour, "Merry Christmas, Darling," one of my favorite songs of all time. Do you start up in Las Vegas, like say in November, and start doing the Christmas show in Vegas, or is that just like a separate show that you guys do? The Christmas.
Actually, in Vegas we start in just early December, but
early December,
starting our out of town performances of the show as early as late November,
right after like Black Friday, Thanksgiving. People getting the Christmas spirit, So
right.
Oh, we also have a special guest. We want to introduce you to our daughter.
Sure.
Okay? Yeah, we have a daughter together, and her name is.
Oh, she's beautiful.
And she's a 4.5-pound rescue. We're very passionate about encouraging people to adopt, and so Sally adopted Lola, and Lola adopted me.
Beautiful.
Give Sally a hug. Bye. She gets between us. You leave my man alone. So, but she identifies as a pit bull.
Beautiful dog.
Anyway, we'd like to put her in the show sometime, maybe.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That would really be cool. I have a little daughter too. Her name is Boots, but she's a cat. So I rescued her. So she's my little daughter. Nice. Nothing like a rescue animal. They really do appreciate it.
Say hi, Uncle Jimmy.
So cool.
She's excited. She just yawned.
She is so beautiful, really. And also, do you get a lot of celebrities that come to the show? I'm sure in Las Vegas, there's always celebrities that attend a lot of the shows out there. Anybody come to your show recently that you tell us about?
Not yet. We just started this residency in October.
Oh, okay.
And so I guess the most famous person related to us, to our show, of course, is our executive producer, Johnny Stewart. He's the founder, not only of Legends of Concert, he's considered like the father of all tribute shows. He started the concept. You know, I believe he said I think Netflix is talking to him about a documentary. He's got some interesting projects.
Oh, yeah.
So we've invited Richard and his wife Mary to come to our shows, and we'll see. It's quite a long drive from LA to do that, but with our fingers crossed, hopefully he'll show up someday. Maybe I can invite him on stage and do a little duet with him or something. Wouldn't that be fun?
Absolutely. Now, you also worked with a lot of celebrities, like Don Rickles, right? I mean, people like that.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What was it like? I mean, I met Don many times in the past, but tell us about what was it like working with him on stage? I never
he definitely earned the title Mr. Warmth, of course. I wrote the music, a range of music for a show called Shades of Sinatra. And a lot of people don't realize that if it wasn't for Sinatra, we would have never heard of Don Rickles. It's Don's mother asked Frank's mother, when are you going to have your son come see my boy, and the rest is history. So Don was eternally grateful. And when he learned that there was a show in Vegas that was a Sinatra tribute, he didn't want to pass up at the chance. So he asked us, me and my pallies, if we'd like to open for that. So we did it twice. We did it once at the Golden Nugget. And it's surprising, although he's, the legendary stand-up insult comic, he has a 13-piece band.
Wow.
He did a few musical, and of course he's in heaven now. But anyway, so we got to open for that, and his music director, Joe Mealy, actually came up to me for the second show and handed me the baton and said, I don't feel like putting on a tux just to conduct the overture. You do it. So he went back, handed me, I'm like, okay, cool. And I got to conduct the whole thing. And then, he did the show. We also opened for him at the Orleans Casino. And after the last show, it's so funny. You never know when he's going to throw you a zinger. And so after the show, he thanked me. He autographed a book for my dad. And he said, and I thought he was serious. He said, hey, listen, I got a thing in Bucharest. And I said, oh, well, put some cream on it, Don. It'll clear it.
Was he working with Tony O at that time too? Sinatra's,
Tony O is for your listeners.
He was Sinatra's right-hand man.
Tony O worked with Sinatra, and he always likes. I'm
gonna be right back.
She got to turn on the AC.
Okay, cool, no problem.
So anyway, Tony was. He was Sinatra's assistant for many years, and he always shows up. He was wearing the very leather shoes that Frank gave him.
Yeah. Tony's an amazing guy.
All the stories, I bet you would know too. Oh, did you ever have the honor of seeing Frank perform? Or
I did many times. Yeah. And I knew Frank Jr. quite a few times. Met him quite a few times. And one time he was one time he was directing for his dad. Yeah, when I went to see him. And he's actually been on the show. Frank Jr. has been on the show.
Oh, I worked with his drummer, Bob Schmel.
Oh, okay.
His drummer. And I had the honor of seeing Frank live one time, one of his last tours back in 1995. I'm from North Carolina, and he was passing through. I couldn't believe he was on a program. It was the only time I subbed out of one of my own gigs to see somebody else perform.
Amazing.
And I got to see him. And he got a standing out every song. It was just unbelievable. It's a memory I'll never forget. I'm a big.
You also, Ned, I read that you also did some television work. You did Matlock.
Yeah, I've done.
I did about that.
But there's a Lola's providing commentary.
That's okay.
Anyway, yeah. So anyway, where I grew up in the Wilmington, North Carolina area, there's a major. Hush. She's always got to get her 2 cents. Okay, say hi real quick. Okay, now. So anyway, there's a major TV studio in that area. So anytime we needed a pianist for a movie scene or TV or whatever, I got the call to do a lot of that. And so I was actually in a scene with a Caribbean band. It was supposed to be filmed in St. Thomas, but it was South North Carolina, and I'm playing a steel drum patch going, yeah, man, I was in a George Lucas film called Radioland Murders. It was kind of a murder mystery, supposed to be in the old radio days. And so I used to look like a musician before then. I had the beard and the hair to my shoulders. I cut off my hair for the 1930s part, and it's been short ever since. And I got to meet Mr. Lucas, and
cool.
I regret that I should have had a Star Wars poster. Here, sign this. You know, I didn't think about it at the time, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had some bit parts and stuff, and Sally has done some really interesting acting for commercials and voiceovers, and that horror thing you did for Emily's Bridge.
I did a bunch of stuff more when I was on the East Coast before I got really busy with our show here. But I was, I was an extra on the CBS TV series Hack with Andre Brower.
Okay.
Back when, about 20 years ago when I was living in Philadelphia for a little while. And then in Vermont, I did a bunch of commercial work. There's a haunted bridge in Stowe, Vermont called Emily's Bridge.
Right.
A really creative production studio there that does these really interesting commercials. And so this one aired, I think it was 2010, and they had it playing locally during Super Bowl.
Right.
And so I played the ghost of Emily, and we filmed it like late at night. It was January, 17 degrees, freezing cold, snowing, and then I pop up on the screen as this, you know, ghost,
like a zombie with mud in her hair and everything. You know.
Wow.
So,
Sally, did you live in Italy as well? Did you go to school there?
Yeah, so that was in 2007 for a painting program. I actually, undergrad, I went to Middlebury College. Graduated in 2003 from there, and I was a studio art major. So the visual arts and painting was always my main thing, and the singing was something I did extracurricularly. And now the tables have turned, and I've been focusing on performing for
He is so cute, beautiful dog.
But yeah, I was in Italy in 2007 doing a painting program at the Florence Academy of Art.
Yeah.
Lola thinks she's a parrot. So
I got a question from a listener that wants to know what is your favorite Carpenters song to perform on stage?
Good, that's a great question. I think I would have to say my number one favorite to perform on stage is Superstar, and second one is I Need to Be in Love.
And what about you, Ned? Any?
Superstar is definitely my favorite, but there's a couple of favorites that we have that were not number one hits or top hits, but they're beautiful melodies that are deserving of mention. There's a beautiful song called Eve that did Richard compose that?
Yes.
Yeah, Richard
and John Bettis, and it was on their first album, Offering, which was repackaged as Ticket to Ride.
She's the historian, so great. Beautiful song. There's a lot of beautiful melodies in a lot of songs that they wrote that are really deserving.
Yeah, you know, and the one thing about the Carpenters music, it never gets old. I mean, of course, good music never gets old. But what do you think keeps that legacy of the Carpenters going?
I think for one thing is the strong melodies, the words, you can understand what they're saying.
Memorable lyrics, meaningful lyrics.
It's not about the beat, it's a meaningful stuff. And when we do a show and we perform these things, the comment we get the most often is how emotional it is. Obviously, we've only just begun was probably the most common wedding song of the 1970s.
Right.
People, it just brings back a more innocent time. And everyone misses those days. And when we bring that back to them, it really can be very touching.
We, on a regular basis, we have people coming out of the theater, and we see them, and because we're waiting to, at our meet and greet station, and they're coming out with, they've got tears streaming down their face. So we started keeping a box of tissues with us. But it's
very common.
Yeah, it's just really moving and special for us to be able to connect with fans that way.
So you guys do a meet and greet after every show?
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome.
We like to thank each and everybody who comes, whether that's in town or out of town. Sometimes we have souvenirs too. People want a T-shirt to take home, or we sign albums for them.
That's so awesome. What can you, if you come to see the Carpenters Legacy show, what can the fans expect to take away from the show when they leave?
I think one of the biggest takeaways is the vast majority of the people who've seen our show never had the chance to see Karen and Richard live.
Yeah.
And the takeaway is, oh my God, I didn't know that Karen and Richard were so entertaining. You know, they a lot of people forget, oh, that's right, Karen played the drums, you know, and Richard has classical chops, you know, and the banter that we do with the audience, you know, we have some comedic moments. And so that's one of the biggest takeaway is how deep of a bench that they had. It wasn't just a matter of, you know, all these great, beautiful ballads, but there's a lot more depth to it. So I would say the versatility and, again, as I said before, how emotional and how touching it is.
Absolutely. Any crazy moments on stage or heartwarming moments that come to mind when you guys have been performing over the years with the band?
Gosh, we've had. You can go first.
I know of a couple. At the beginning of our show, again, people go, why is he doing that? Because hey, anytime anyone asks, why do you do something? I'm like, okay, ask Richard. Okay, this is his show. So we're you know, honoring him. He has a moment at the beginning of his show where he would conduct to a reel-to-reel recorder. Right? And so I built this reel-to-reel prop that actually spins around, you know, and I have a traveling tour version that's actually hollowed out the back so we can put props in it and stuff like that.
Right.
And we had a funny moment one time where we had decided to have a guest reel-to-reel recorder. Our friend Michael Lansing, who was the original Carpenters, one of the performers who ran the reel-to-reel in their 76 tour. He's living in California. We're close friends. We still stay in contact. He said, I want to come see your show and band in California. I'm like, hey, great. You can run the reel-to-reel. And we'll explain that we brought it back for 50 years later. So we go to rehearsal. We get it done. And then, unfortunately, one of the stagehands knocks the reel-to-reel on the floor, smashes one of the motors into 100 pieces. Oh. And like, now what are we going to do, right? So one of the motors was working, and the other one's like, help. It was a lost cause. And so what we did was, since we have video with our show, we had the video screen just to the side of the stage. And I said, I got an idea. We put the reel-to-reel just to the side of that screen so it would hide half of one of the reels. I'm not making this up. And so what we did in the show is we had Sally hide behind the screen and spin the broken reel.
Oh, wow.
While the other one was working and while Michael Lansing conducted, and we got away with it. From now on, I keep a spare motor, but there's always these close calls. We had one time at our previous venue, the electricity went out 5 times during the show. And is it going to be off for 10 seconds or 10 minutes? You don't know. So we
kept having to restart a song. I think it was like, oh gosh.
Yeah, in the middle of the song, it just shut down, and we were using microphones. My piano's electric. Everything. So I had to go back to my old piano days. Okay, man goes into a bar, and I just started.
Yeah, that's a live show. That's what happens.
and we pulled it off. So we're ready for whatever's thrown at us.
I'm just thinking more recently, because we've been in and out of town so much, that we have to really remember when we get back into town and going back to our residency, and make sure that we get everything out of the suitcases so that we have it at the theater. And there's always something I forget. And just the other week, the show had just started, and I just had the realization that I forgot my lead sister shirt for the drum feature. I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? I'm like, what am I going to wear? I'm like, oh, I think I have a t-shirt, but I'm like, that'll look weird because it doesn't match up, because we're showing videos of the Carpenters, and Karen's up there on the screen with her lead sister shirt and the jeans doing the drum feature. So it's got to match. And then fortunately I remembered like that we have our merch table, and I had lead sister shirts made. So I had one of our techs, like, go grab one of the lead sister shirts, and he got it back to me just in time. So, but there's always interesting stuff like that.
As I like to say, when they ask us, do we need to reserve any comp seats? I said, I always want to reserve one seat for Mr. Murphy. Was that Murphy's Law? We're ready, whatever hey, we're expecting you, have a seat. Right. Whatever you throw at us, we're ready for it. You know.
Any crazy fan interactions that come to mind?
Any what?
Fan interactions while you guys were performing? Any crazy things from a Carpenters fan or anything they said or did or anything like that?
Well, that's on Facebook probably then.
Yeah, more.
Well, one time we had the guy come up on stage in the Spike Jones thing.
Oh yeah. Richard, a little background for those of you under age 50. Richard Carpenter was a big Spike Jones fan. If you remember, he's the guy from the TV show with all the bells and whistles and
right, yeah,
stuff. And he did a parody on Close to You. Why do birds suddenly appear? Honk, honk, every squeak, squeak, So I would grab two members of the audience and I'd hand one of them a horn to honk or a duck call or whatever. And this one guy, I chose the wrong guy.
I think it was in Florida.
Yeah, he had a little too much to drink before the show. And he's like, I want to do it and get up there. And so, of course, Sally introduces Spike Jones, and Sally walks away, and he starts to stalk and follow Sally off the stage.
I want to take her home.
Yeah, he starts hitting on Sally. Yeah. It didn't get out. We managed to do it, but it was a close. He was like a little 3-year-old child there, trying to
amazing
under control. Yeah, for the most part, it's been okay. We've been very blessed with very supportive and loving audiences. So.
One of my favorite Carpenter songs, of course, is "Rainy Days and Mondays." I'm sure you guys do that probably every show. I'm sure.
Yeah, despite that, it always gets me down. No.
Yeah. There you go. Well, anyway, I want to wish you guys all the best with the show. Tell us again about the album. How do you go about getting that album? And talk a little bit more about it.
Mm-hmm. So the album is called Carpenters Legacy 1976. And if people come to our live performances, we have it available on vinyl and CD. And it's also available on all the major streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, all of them.
Yeah.
So, and they can find information on that by going to our website, carpenterslegacy.com, and then go to the store page.
And for those of you from Kentucky, it'll be available on 8-track tape. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know if you go to your website, I know you can get an autographed copy of it too, right? Without coming to the show, which is pretty awesome for people who can't make it out to Las Vegas.
Yeah, most people want my autograph on a check.
Yeah. You guys are fantastic. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Tell us one more time also how to get tickets to the show if anyone's planning a trip to come out to Las Vegas this summer or anytime soon. So how can they come and see the Carpenters Legacy show?
So to get tickets to see our Vegas residency show, go to vtheater.com and look for our show. They have a bunch of shows at the V Theater, but look for our show on the V Theater website.
Theater?
No, it's just V Theater, ER, not RE, vtheater.com, or just go to our website, carpenterslegacy.com, and go to the contact page or the tour page, and there's a direct link to the V Theater's website.
You can also, and of course, check out the tour page to find out when we're going to be playing in your area, because we're all.
Oh yeah, I'd definitely love to come and see you guys. Absolutely, and we hope you come up to this way, New York and New Jersey. We'd love to have you up here again. I know you did, as I said, you were in Atlantic City. I hope you guys come back soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And also tell Uncle Jimmy bye.
Bye. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Sally and Ned, you guys are the best, and all the best with the show. I appreciate you coming on my show tonight.
Thank you so much, Jimmy.
Thanks a lot.
Take care. Have a fantastic night.
Thank you.
You too.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. I want to thank everybody for listening to Celebrity Spotlight tonight. Also, I know there was a lot of people out here. Producer Cindy has been sending me some of the listeners out there, so I'll give them a quick mention. Sharon Priscilla, who also said she's a Karen Carpenter impersonator as well. So, okay, well, good luck to you, Sharon. I hope you do well with that. Sharon Priscilla, thank you for listening. Tom Payton over there, thank you so much for listening. Beryl up in Virginia, thank you so much. I appreciate it. My mom out in Canarsie, Brooklyn. I have Cindy out in Lake Ronkonkoma. So many people listen to the show every week. Thank you so much. Michael Bellis also up there in Virginia. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys listening to the show. I hope everybody gets a copy of Sally and Ned's album and makes it out to Las Vegas to check out the Carpenters Legacy show. Coming up also on Celebrity Spotlight, just let me give you some more people. Coming up this Thursday is going to be William Lee Golden of the Oak Ridge Boys, a legend. So he'll be here. He's been on the show before. He's coming back. We have Elvis's first fan club president, a friend of mine. Her name is Kay Wheeler. She also dated Elvis Presley. She'll be on the show. Rodney Allen Rippey. He's a legendary television personality. He had all those commercials back in the day from Jack in the Box. He'll be coming up here on Celebrity Spotlight. Also, actress Louise Sorrell. She was on the old Star Trek with William Shatner and the old crew there of the original Star Trek. She'll join us. Also, my friend and actress Elaine Ballas, and she's from Hollywood. She'll be here direct from Hollywood and tell us all the stuff that's going on in Hollywood Boulevard and the Hollywood Museum. And she's an actress out there. She'll tell us all about her career. So many great people on the way. Roy Hamilton Jr., who's out there in Las Vegas doing a show as well, and he's going to be on the show. He'll tell us all about his show out there in Las Vegas. And of course, his dad was Roy Hamilton, who was one of the great singers who had songs like You'll Never Walk Alone. And I know Elvis Presley was a big fan of his dad. So I'm looking forward to that. And the world's leading John Denver tribute artist, good friend of mine, Ted Vigil. He's been on the show before. He's coming back. He's going to be out here on Long Island doing a great show. So we'll talk all about that. He's going to be out here in July. And the CEO of Game Changer 3 Entertainment, Carrie Calvin, out there in Los Angeles and Hollywood. His father was one of the original Shylights, and so he'll be on the show. Also, actor Dean Butler from Little House on the Prairie. I'm sure you remember that show. That's a great show. So he'll be on the show. So many great people here on Celebrity Spotlight. So we'll give you all the details. Of course, we'll see you this coming Thursday. Join us again for William Lee Golden. So I'm looking forward to that. I want to thank everybody for joining me and Sally and Ned tonight on Celebrity Spotlight. And we will check you out on Thursday with the Oak Ridge Boys' own William Lee Golden. Everybody have a fantastic weekend, and we will talk again next week. Thank you so much.